Who was the old like science guy before Bill Nye? He had like all those. You know what I'm talking about? God, I'm trying to figure out what his name. He was the first one who explained the
dimensions.
Yeah.
Carl Sagan.
Carl Sagan. Yeah,
I don't even know that guy.
Carl Sagan has a brilliant bit.
Carl Sagan is way better than Bill Nye though.
Oh yeah, dude, of course.
And he can't explain shit so well.
Yeah. Fifth dimension. Yeah.
He went on to the fifth dimension from the fourth.
Well, okay. I don't know how. Ooh.
He uses shadows in this, right?
Mm-hmm.
We are the shadow of the.
Yeah,
the
he has
fourth
such a
dimension.
brilliant explanation of it.
Because like if you're looking at something as if it's a 2D object, it's almost like an ant.
Yeah.
How
Are you guys
it stares at something in front of it?
Are you okay with this? Playing this video?
Yeah,
but
sure.
unbounded.
His
Whatever
voice
are they
is so
talking
killer
about?
though.
I love his voice.
Let's imagine
Smoked
that
weed
we
every day,
are
apparently.
perfectly flat. I mean absolutely flat. And that we live, appropriately enough, in a flatland. A
The wetlands,
land
but flat.
designed and named by Edwin Abbott, a Shakespearean scholar who lived in Victorian England. Everybody in flatland is, of course, exceptionally flat. We have squares, circles, triangles.
Hey, yo,
We
they
all
got me squares.
scurry about. And we can go into our houses and do our flat business. Now, we have width and length, but no height at all. Now, these little cutouts have some little height, but let's ignore that. Let's imagine that these are absolutely flat. That being the case, we know, us flatlanders, about left-right, and we know about forward-back, but we have never heard of up-down. Let us imagine that into flatland, hovering above it, comes a strange three-dimensional creature which, oddly enough, looks like an apple. And the three-dimensional creature sees an attractive, congenial-looking square, watches it enter its house, and decides in a gesture of interdimensional amity to say hello. Hello, says the three-dimensional creature. How are you? I am a visitor from the third dimension. Well, the poor square looks around,
Only
his
sees
closed house,
him in the second
sees
dimension.
no one there, and what's more, has witnessed a greeting coming from his insides, a voice from within. He surely is getting a little worried about his sanity. The three-dimensional creature is unhappy about being considered a psychological aberration, and so he descends to actually enter flatland. Now, a three-dimensional creature exists in flatland only partially. Only a plane, a cross-section through him can be seen. So when the three-dimensional creature first reaches flatland, it's only the points of contact which can be seen, and we'll represent that by stamping the apple in this ink pad and placing that image in flatland. And as the apple were to descend through, slither by flatland, we would progressively see higher and higher slices, which we can represent by
He cuts his finger.
the apple. So the square, as time goes on, sees a set of objects mysteriously appear from nowhere and inside a closed room and change their shape dramatically. His only conclusion could be that he's gone bonkers. Well, the apple might be a little annoyed at this conclusion, and so, not such a friendly gesture from dimension to dimension, makes a contact with the square from below and sends our flat creature fluttering and spinning above flatland. At first, the square has no idea what's happening. He's terribly confused. This is utterly outside his experience. But after a while, he comes to realize that he is seeing inside closed rooms in flatland. He is looking inside his fellow flat creatures. He is seeing flatland from a perspective no one has ever seen it before to his knowledge. Getting into another dimension provides as an incidental benefit a kind of X-ray vision. Now our flat creature slowly descends to the surface, and his friends rush up to see him. From their point of view, he has mysteriously appeared from nowhere. He hasn't walked from somewhere else. He's come from some other place. They say, "For heaven's sake, what's happened to you?" And the poor square has to say, "Well,
The
I
way
was
he
in
illustrates the story
some
is
other
phenomenal. Not
mystic
gonna lie.
dimension
For real.
called up." And they will pat him on his side and comfort him, or else they'll ask, "Well, show us. Where is that third dimension? Point to it." And the poor square will be unable to comply. But maybe more interesting is the other direction in dimensionality. What about the fourth dimension? Now, to approach that, let's consider a cube. We can imagine a cube in the following way. You take a line segment and move it at right angles to itself in equal length. That makes a square. Move that square in equal length at right angles to itself, and you have a cube. Now, this cube, we understand, casts a shadow. And that shadow we recognize. It's, ordinarily drawn in third grade classrooms as two squares with their vertices connected. Now, if we look at the shadow of a three-dimensional object in two dimensions, we see that, in this case, not all the lines appear equal. Not all the angles are right angles. The three-dimensional object has not been perfectly represented in its projection in two dimensions, but that's part of the cost of losing a dimension in the projection. Now, let's take this three-dimensional cube and project it, carry it through a fourth physical dimension. Not that way, not that way, not that way, but at right angles to those three directions. I can't show you what direction that is, but imagine that there is a fourth physical dimension. In that case, we would generate a four-dimensional hypercube, which is also called a tesseract. I cannot show you a tesseract because I and you are trapped in three dimensions. But
Just
what
wait
I
till
can
Optimus
show you
Prime
is
comes
the
down from
shadow
space to come get
in
it.
three
Or
dimensions
Loki.
Yeah.
of a four-dimensional
it's Loki,
hypercube
isn't it?
or tesseract. This is it. And you can see it's two nested cubes, all the vertices connected by lines. And now the real tesseract in four dimensions would have all the lines of equal length and all the angles right angles. That's not what we see here, but that's the penalty of projection. So you see, while we cannot imagine the world of four dimensions, we can certainly think about it perfectly well.
So what he has there was the projection of a fourth dimensional cube.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty
Yeah.
crazy.
I think I just blew my mind trying to imagine what a tesseract was. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like,
yeah.
you can't really imagine it. Like, I understand his thought of, like, okay, you can have a cube and then trying to draw a cube on paper, how you have the loss of a dimension and how you can kind of represent it, but you can't really. But at least when I draw a cube on paper, I still can understand what a cube is. But, like, when you make a tesseract and you do that, like you do the fourth dimension, like you have a cube inside of a cube that has all the points connected. What the fuck is that?
Yeah, that shit's crazy.
What the fuck is that, dude?
I've seen some
What the fuck is that?
data simulations of things like that.
Yeah.
And like they'll move it around in the graph in a three-dimensional way, and it's just even more trippy because all the angles are just like, it's kind of like that apple that he was explaining, to where like you'll just see bits and pieces of it coming at a time. So
Can
it's
I ask you for a second? So how do I have a tesseract? You know what's really funny is I'm about to look up a video of a tesseract, and then it's going to show a 4D shape that's represented in 3D modeling that's on a 2D fucking screen.
Yeah.
Could you fucking imagine the brain fuck that's going to go through our mind? Okay, tesseract 3D model. 3D model. Oh, no. Moodle. Come on. What do you think? You think this is enough? Yeah, I would assume so, right?
Yep.
So the other day, I was
Oh
doing
my
my daily
God.
browse.
Absolutely not. Fuck
Just
off.
wait. Oh yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
This shit is not.
That makes a little more sense to me, actually. But it's not enough.
It's just so weird. It's like
Is it just proving that there's a connection with everything? That there's down to the anatomical level. There's a connection point to everything. Is that what it's proving?
That there is more points to a dimension.
That my particles
That
are
are not visible.
attached to fucking galaxies far beyond me. Have you ever heard that theory?
I have
you guys
not heard that, but I get what you're saying now.
Because I
Yeah.
felt like they proved that every single particle is connected to every other particle in some spiderweb way. And so when you start to harp on the strings, that everything's fucking connected.
I was watching something yesterday, and it was like gravity is not real. It's just the relationship in between different particles being pulled by each other.
Yeah.
So it's
Right.
just like nuts. Shit's nuts like that.
Yeah, well, we just fucking exist on this planet.
Right.
But if we dude, I don't even want to go into that. That's too deep. That's too deep. But
It kind of makes you think once you start programming what I'm saying, gravity and shit like that, and you're like, well, gravity's not really gravity, and then you start getting more deeper and deeper into all these different properties and shit, and then eventually, you're gonna have a perfect simulation. So once you have the perfect simulation, how will you be able to distinguish the perfect simulation from the real reality?
Well, that just proves the theory that we just hopped into a fucking video game. You want to test it out? I have I'm just about to make the horrible joke in the world. Cooking this I'll figure it out. I'm just kidding. I'm never gonna
Exiting lobby.
Yo,
I gotta back out real quick. I forgot I left something on at home.
that'd be so crazy.
Oh my
But
god!
it would be fun
That's
as
so
fuck
funny.
to be that engineer that's you made your damn near perfect simulation, and then you start making things exist in there. I don't know if you've heard of Digimon.
No, pause. I'm a lower our IQs. Have you ever watched Rick and Morty?
Yeah.
Okay, so the episode where the stepper. You know what I'm talking about?
What happens?
Oh,
What
where they go
happens?
back in time, but
No.
The
They go into his vehicle's engine.
I'm thinking of solar.
Oh, and there's a
opposites.
world inside of the battery.
Inside the battery, yeah.
Yeah.
And so they're like, why aren't the minions powering the battery anymore? And well, they're like, well, we just figured out that we could have our own simulation that powers our own world. And you're like,
Right.
oh, that's cool. Okay, and then you go into that one, and then you go into that. You know what I mean? It's just you get too deep, man. You get too deep.
Damn.
I thought
We're
you
just
were-
we're just a fucking spaceship battery right now.
Damn. That's hilarious. Yeah, shit's
Not
crazy.
to demean your entire life back to.
Fuck, I'm just making butter. Fuck.
Yeah, I wonder if this video actually gets to a point though. Whoa,
Yo,
this is
going on?
crazy.
Jesus. How do they
Maths.
even model this?
That's like a
bro?
matrix, and they're just using cosines and ones and zeros and shit.
Yeah.
They have
The
X, Y, Z.
projections, dude. Wow. Now that is what you call confusion.
Yeah.
Damn.
Damn, son.
Yeah, so that's what you were saying, the shadow of a cube. So
No, isn't this the shadow
This is the shadow of a cube.
in the fourth dimension?
it does look like it, but I think it might be 2D.
Are you sure?
Yeah, it looks
This is
like if you
yeah.
take a cube and you go up.
This is just rotating or putting the light, raising it and lowering it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then this
okay.
is the fourth dimension, but it's not the perfect fourth dimension because there's only
Location of light.
it should be a 4x4, not a 3x4. That makes sense.
Okay.
What the?
God.
It's just as
damn,
self-replicating.
son.
It looks like it's self-replicating.
And recreating itself, right?
And that's just the shadow.
Are we watching The Big Bang right now?
Yo.
My question is, if it still is a cube, is it just this? I don't know.
Yeah, and that's where I go to the thought that it's all of the atoms. All of the atoms that exist being connected to each other, and then this is just constantly revolving the connections. I don't know. That's my thought.
Dude, I tried watching some snippets of that Terrence Howard on Joe Rogan, and it was just too mind blowing. Like I couldn't keep up with that shit.
No, it's too much, man. Sometimes it's too much.
Where even Joe gets himself into a rabbit hole and he doesn't even understand like half of it.
Yeah, he'll just be like,
I'm trying to keep up with you, man, but I mean,
That's
just
hilarious.
keep going.
That's
I
hilarious.
can try and piece it together.
Let me pour some more coffee, and maybe my ape brain will understand.
What do
Have you been
sound
reading the
like?
literature?
Yo. I feel like
Agartha.
I feel like this shit, the way I like interpret it is like a light shining on the fourth dimensional thing,
Okay.
and then you're like adjusting the light, and that's what you see. Either that's what I think.
So, but it's constantly pulsating, though, right?
Because something's moving.
But it's not moving, though.
I mean,
It's
if you-
technically stationary in our thought, but stationary is movement, though. God,
I feel
I'm
like
too
we're just
stupid.
watching it move in the. We're watching it. Our perspective on it in this video is in the third dimension. Right?
I so disagree.
This
I
is
feel
like
like
the
this is
third
the
dimension.
fucking portal. This is the fucking wormhole. This is the goddamn thing that's stationary but moving. Do you not?
Right.
Can
We
you
can make
can you
that
make
object.
eye contact?
We can make that object that we see on that screen right now. It's 3D,
Yeah, it's just a box.
but
It's just a fucking square.
we cannot make an All right, this is what I should say.
Would you agree with me that this is just a fucking square that's turned into the fourth dimension, right? Because a cube, right?
Yeah.
Because you can have a square, and then you can have a cube,
Right.
and then you can have a tesseract,
Right.
right?
Yes.
Okay.
And then
Is the
And
one
then is
dimension
the fifth-
just a line?
But is the fifth? Is that just more lines on top of these ones?
yeah.
Like is that what it just keeps coming down to?
What would be the word for not a tesseract, but what's one level above a tesseract?
I have no clue, but I do know
Dude, we might
that-
just fucking unlock the goddamn God particle.
Where would the vertices even be? Like
What's
another
the
projection?
Fifth Amendment dimension cube. What's what is a fifth dimensional cube? Hypercube. Okay.
32 vertices.
Damn, look at that fucking
Yeah.
shadow type shit.
All right. Are you guys ready? Hypercube 3D model.
So when you pause the video, so like you have to understand that tesseract, the thing that we saw morphing, was because there's
I feel like the FBI is gonna come
This
in and
is
be like,
this is probably the most mind-bending one.
they're simulating that. So they're simulating the movement of a tesseract, and that's why we're seeing shit move in and out.
disagree. I so disagree with you.
They're moving it.
I
They're
think
just moving
this
it
is
around.
more.
We need to talk to a fucking scientist.
I feel like this video will
I-
make Carl Sagan's point a little more clear because it's starting off 2D.
All right, starting off with a cube.
I'm already lost.
I'm lost too.
I don't think it's doing anything, actually. I don't think this is actually... Oh, guys, you remember him saying that it's entering a plane?
Yeah, like the apple when he was cutting it in half. That's what we're witnessing.
Yes,
Okay.
that
So
this
if we
is
were to ever see a higher dimensional thing, it would almost be a portal.
It would just like move.
It would just start
weirdly.
appearing out of nowhere.
yeah, almost like there are walls and like there are just like invisible walls on it.
It would be an imperfect, but yet perfect at the same time.
Oh, that's weird.
It would really just phase in and out, wouldn't
Yeah.
Yeah.
Angels, if you're hearing me, just show yourself to me. I already prepped myself by watching
Hey,
this
yo.
video.
it? We already know what it would look like.
I won't go mentally insane and okay. Oh, I'm so interested in this. All right.
It would take so many of these videos for us to understand 4D.
Can I tell you? I thought I understood it through the power of ignorance. But the more information I'm given is the more
Confusing.
ignorant I realize I
feel
am.
Yeah.
Because
I
I
just
thought
get more confused the
I-
more videos I watch.
exactly. I thought I knew because I was truly ignorant. But me realizing my ignorance makes me realize I'm even more ignorant than I realized. God damn, dude.
This shit, what gets even crazy, this shit is like squares are the stepping stone to like mathematics. So imagine going from, our regular 3D mathematics to 4D, then to 5D,